Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Friday edition of 5 Minutes with Phil. I trust you've had a great week, and now we find ourselves looking at the weekend, and we're going to kick off your Friday by looking at God's Word together. By the way, if you know somebody that might be able to benefit from one of these lessons, one of these devotions, if you will, please forward it on to them, share it with them, have them follow the 5 Minutes with Phil Facebook page, and that way you'll never miss any of them, and they will never miss any of them. And so take advantage of that, okay? Now, today I want to direct our attention to a popular, I think a pretty popular verse with a lot of people, and it's from Isaiah chapter 55. Isaiah chapter 55, and it really speaks to the knowledge that God has really of everything, and how his knowledge is so far superior to what our knowledge is, and how his understanding is so much more superior than our understanding. And take a look at the scripture and I'll show you. Isaiah 55, starting in verse 8, it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, and neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." So God is speaking through the prophet Isaiah, and really God is talking to his people, but not just his people then. I think he's speaking to his people now. And this is a good reminder for us that my understanding of things is so limited. You know, I ask questions like why, and what for, and what's the purpose of this, and sometimes, or why did this happen, and sometimes I just don't have any answers. I have had moments where I've asked God, Lord, why would you allow something to take place like this? And then I read this verse, and oftentimes I'm reminded after I read it that I've got some limitations to my thoughts and my understanding. There's a ceiling on my understanding. And, you know, this room in here, this is about a 10-foot ceiling in the room that I'm in right now, maybe 9. And I really compare that to how far my thoughts go and how deep my understanding is compared to the greatness of God. Because if I were to go outside of this room, if I were to go outdoors and I look to the sky, that still doesn't encompass the greatness and the depth of understanding and knowledge that God has over every situation, not just mine. And my understanding of things and how I think things should be, and how I would maybe do things if I were God, right? That really can only go so far. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, and I've been serving God for a long time, sometimes I just don't get it. Sometimes I don't understand why somebody dies, or something takes place that just, it doesn't seem fair, right? And you've been there too. And then I read this verse, and you know what? It doesn't necessarily take the sting out of all those things away, but here's what I can rest on, okay? I can rest on the fact that God sees this huge picture. And God sees not only the present, which I'm usually limited to, but he also sees the future. And his knowledge of the future, and his knowledge of my life, and his knowledge of everything, I can't even comprehend that. And so I find myself asking God why, and I find myself maybe even doubting God, and then I realize that, you know what, God, you know better than I do, and I love you so much, and I've served you for so long, and I've trusted you for so much, that I can rest in that you know better. I don't have to understand God in order to serve God. In fact, I will tell you that if you could figure out God, then your picture of God is actually way too small. And so as you go into the weekend, I just want you to know that God's thoughts and God's ways and God's understanding, they are way higher than my ways and my understanding and my knowledge and my thoughts. And that is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing that I could trust him and rest in that. Okay? So take that with you this weekend. I love you. Hope you have a great Saturday and Sunday. We'll see you again next week, Lord willing. Take care. Bye-bye.